मंजू की जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा
Chapter 12 Caitanya Bhagavata The Lord's wandering throughout Navadip. Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu Sri Gaura Sundara Jaya Hoka Prabhu Rayataka Anuchara. All glories to Mahaprabhu Sri Gaura Sundara. All glories to followers of the Lord. In this way, Sri Gaura Sundara with book in hand always enjoyed pastimes in Navadip. Yata Adhyapaka Prabhu Chale no Savare Prabodhite Sakti ko no jano nahi dhare. He challenged any teacher he would meet, but none of them had the power to defeat him. Yesterday someone was asking, why Mahaprabhu found a fault in Ishwar Puripad's, So this is what it is. It is actually inconceivable. Many of you have not really meditated what Mahaprabhu was. He was a terror personified. In other yugas, Krishna came and killed atheists. But this time, Krishna didn't kill atheists. Krishna defeated and shook their false ego. He made their life miserable. For example, when you defeat an atheist who is thinking, I am so intelligent, you defeat him, he cannot leave. It's very tough for him to leave when he is defeated. So this was the situation in Navadip. You can imagine Navadip, those time probably thousands of schools were there, thousands of Sanskrit rolls. And he must have defeated all of them. Although he was simply a student of grammar, he nevertheless considered the learned Bhattacharyas to be as insignificant as grass. Who are ordinary jivas, and Nimai is God. Obviously, even a person like Kesava Kashmiri is just like a grass. The self-satisfied Lord travelled throughout Navadip along with his most fortunate students. So obviously, when he is so powerful, so extraordinarily situated in debate, in general. See, Krishna, it is not that Nimai is exhibiting his full opulence as a scholar. When Krishna comes here, he exhibits very little opulence. Very fragment of his opulence is sufficient to completely flatten everyone. Right? Just like Krishna defeated Jarasandha 17 times, and 17 times he was arrested. So this is what it is. In a little opulence of Krishna, very fragment person. Fragment means it is like an elephant picking a lotus flower. So that much of opulence of Nimai Pandit is sufficient to treat all those extraordinarily powerful, intelligent, erudite Sanskrit scholars in Nyaya Shastra and whatnot they were studying. They were all flattened like grass. The most important point here is that although Nimai Pandit was simply a student of grammar, but he could defeat all these Nyaya Shastris. One day by providence, the Lord met Mukunda on the road, and the Lord held Mukunda's hand and spoke to him. I was about to tell about Mukunda, and he was the only exception, because he was a devotee, Lord would empower Mukunda to argue. But atheist, he will just finish them. So Lord is telling Mukunda, Amare dekhiya tumi ki kariya palao, ajiya ma probodhiya bina dekhi jao. Why do you run away as soon as you see me? Let me see how you run away today without answering me. He was catching hold of Mukunda's hand very tightly. Of course, Mukunda and I don't know what will be their age group, but anyway, if Lord wants to hold somebody's hand, who can actually be freed? So Mukunda thought, how will I defeat him today? He is well versed only in grammar. I will defeat him with questions on Alankara. Then he may not again display his pride before me. As soon as Mukunda was cut on the road by the Lord, he thought that Nimai always insulted him, thinking him as ignorant of grammar. Therefore, considering Nimai's inexperience in Alankara Shastras, he thought that he would raise questions and problems in Alankara and completely defeat Nimai. In other words, if Nimai's lack of knowledge in Alankara Shastra were revealed, he would never again brag or exhibit pride over his learning before Mukunda. Thereafter, Mukunda began to ask the Lord questions. Whatever Mukunda established, the Lord would refute. Mukunda said, grammar is studied only by children. Today we should discuss Alankara. The Lord replied, as you desire. Mukunda then read some of the most difficult yet well-known verses and asked the Lord to point out any faults. The omnipotent Lord Gaurachandra then pointed out various faults in the verses. Mukunda was unable to re-establish what the Lord had refuted. The Lord then smiled and said to him, go home for today, study your books carefully. Come early tomorrow, we will discuss further. After Mukunda took the dust from the Nimai's feet and departed, he thought, an ordinary human being cannot possess such knowledge. There is no literature that he is not conversant with. If such an intelligent person was a devotee of Krishna, then I would not leave his association for even a moment. Who will read today? Abhishek Panchal has already read, Ajay Gudla has read, Bapi Sarkar has read. Devendra, please read.
Mukunda began to think about the Lord as follows. If such an extraordinary, knowledgeable and intelligent person engaged his mind in worshipping Krishna, then I would not leave his association and go elsewhere for even a moment. Knowledge elevates a person to the highest position in this world or makes one extraordinarily respectable. But if you, along with such knowledge, devotion to the Lord manifests in a great personality, then it is like gold mixed with borax. Less intelligent devotees should always hear the scriptures from the learned devotees. By hearing scriptures in this way, one's devotional service will be refined. If a living entity considers devotional scriptures or spiritual knowledge as equal to ordinary mundane knowledge, which aims at material enjoyment, then his devotional service is not enhanced. Hearing topics of the Lord from pure devotees is the only support in the less intelligent devotees' worship of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, their prosperity for worshipping the Lord diminishes day by day and being attacked by the mundane beliefs of the sahjiyas. They fall from the worship of the Lord. Generally, Prakrita sahjiyas are very foolish. Proudly considering themselves expert in bhajan, they become confused by opposing the scriptures and stray far away from the Mahajanas, all auspicious statement like Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Hridaye Karya Ekya. One must consider the instructions of the sadhu, the revealed scriptures, and the spiritual master in order to understand the real purpose of his spiritual life.
Yesterday I had talked, no, who will become sahjiya. Yesterday or day before yesterday, when did I tell? What I said? Detached. People who live in the society, but they have this idea that everything belongs to me, not everything belongs to Krishna. Then most likely they will become sahjiyas. And so the point here is, just like gold shines with borax. You know, if you apply borax to the gold, it seems gold shines similarly. I don't know what is borax. Maybe Devendra was reading, he's a chemical engineer, he can tell what is borax. But once you mix gold with borax, then it shines. Similarly, if somebody has intelligence and that intelligence is used in the service to Krishna, then obviously that will shine the devotional service, because then you know, like in our time, when we came to Krishna consciousness, we were told Sadaputta Prabhu, very intelligent fellow from Cornell University PhD and practicing Krishna consciousness. So obviously, you know, that is something like music to the ear. Oh, such a very, very erudite scholar, but he has given up that and is giving I know that when Sadaputta Prabhu joined the temple, he was told to clean the bartan, clean the utensils. And he did it without any. So the idea here is somebody has so much of scholarship. That scholarship can be used in service to Krishna. And Mukundadatta thought that if somehow Nimai becomes a devotee, then he will not give up his association. In this way, Lord of Vaikuntha enjoyed the life of a scholar. One day, while wondering about Navadev, Nimai met Gadadhar. Hasidu ihate Prabhu rakhila dhariya, Nyaya podo tumi ama jao Prabhu diya. Lord smiled as he caught Gadadhar's hand and said, aren't you studying logic? Come, let us debate. He didn't leave anyone. He's not leaving. The point is that if he finds a devotee, he catches hold of them and catches their hand very tightly and doesn't leave. All right. Gadadhar said, so question me. Nimai asked, what are the symptoms of liberation? Gadadhar then explained the symptom of liberation according to scripture. But Nimai countered, you don't know how to explain properly. Gadadhar then said, liberation is freedom from misery. This is the meaning of liberation according to the scripture. So Gadadhar said, it is stated in various scriptures such as Sankhya Shastras that mitigation of excessive distress is the symptom of liberation. In the Sankhya Pravachana Sutras, it is stated, Atha Trivida Dukhatyanta Nibhrutiratyanta purusarthaha. Mitigation of the threefold miseries is the goal of life. Imagine, you don't have hunger, you don't have thirst, you don't have disease, you don't have old age. Wow. So fantastic, right? Then the Lord, who is the husband of Goddess Saraswati, pointed out various faults in his statement. There was no one who could defeat his argument and silence him. The Lord is the direct manifestation of Vaishnava literature and the master of goddess of learning. Therefore, no one can equal him in arguments. Sri Gaurasundar properly pointed out how the symptom of liberation mentioned in Nyaya Shastra are most useless and full of faults. Inaugurating the philosophy of Sri Madhvacharya Pada, the Mokhyam Vishnangri Lavam, the symptom of liberation is attained of the lotus feet of Vishnu. He established that the existence of gross and subtle bodies which enjoy happiness and distress is temporary, and the living entity's eternal propensity or constitutional duty of devotional service to Lord is the symptom of liberation. So even Nimai is establishing that time that it is the pure devotional service to Krishna is the ultimate state of liberation. In the ultimate state of liberation, you are serving Krishna. You are rendering devotional service to Krishna. Like every day, we get up morning, we chant our rounds, we do abhisekam, we make offering. These are all the activity in the state of liberation. So you may think I am not liberated, I have still sinful tendency within me. So what? But you are acting in the platform of liberation. This is what the mercy of Prabhupada. Prabhupada has given us the activities that are performed in the state of liberation. That is why we should be very grateful to our acharyas, particularly Srila Prabhupada, that he has given us activity that one performs in the state of liberation. No one even dared to speak with the Lord, and thus Gadadhar thought, I'll be relieved to get out of here. So when you are being hounded, right? So it's very, very tough. The Lord said, Gadadhar, you can go home today, but come early tomorrow so we can discuss more. If they would have known here is Krishna, then if they would have known here is Krishna, then their behavior would have been completely different. Gadadhar offered his respect to Nimai, went home, and Nimai continued to wander through the streets of Navadep. Everyone considered Nimai a most learned scholar, so they treated him with awe and reverence. Every afternoon, Nimai would sit on the bank of Ganges with his students. Lord's body is served by Lasmi, the daughter of the ocean. His beauty surpasses that of the Cupid and is therefore incomparable throughout the three worlds. The word Sindhu Sutta refers to Sri Lasmi Devi, who appeared during the churning of the ocean. She is described in the Brahma Samhita as follows: Lasmi Sahasra Satasam Brahma Sebhyamanam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. Chaturdike be surrounded by his students, Sri Sachinandana would give explanation on the scriptures. In the evening, all the Vaishnavas also gathered on the bank of the Ganges. As they listened to Nimai's explanations from a distance, they felt both happiness and lamentation. One of them said, if anyone who possesses such beauty and knowledge does not worship Krishna, there is no benefit. So the Vaishnavas, they got together and said, what is the use of such scholarship when he is not manifesting any devotion? Right? They all replied, "Dear brother, anyone who sees him runs away in fear of facing his challenge." Someone else said, "When he sees someone, he does not allow him to leave. He captures him just like a tax collector captures a debtor." Those days also tax collector had complete grip. Another said, "This Brahmana has uncommon potency. I think he must be some great personality. Although he constantly asks shrewd questions, we still get great satisfaction just by seeing him. We have never seen such knowledge in an ordinary person. Our only regret is that he does not worship Krishna." And he is Krishna, what he will do? The Vaishnavas all requested each other, "Bless Nimai so that his mind will be fixed on Krishna." Then they all offered their obeisance on the bank of Ganges and blessed Nimai with a prayer. "Hena kara Krishna Jagannatera Nandana Torara se matta hau chadi anyamana." "O Krishna, please let the son of Jagannath Mishra become absorbed in you without deviation." The Vaishnava of Navadip began to pray to Lord Krishna, "May Nimai Pandit, the son of Jagannath Mishra, give up all other endeavors and fully engage in worshipping Krishna. May Nimai Pandit also manifest uncommon endeavors in the devotional service of Krishna, like those that have earned him the highest elevated position of learning in the world. Let him constantly worship you in love. O Lord, please let us have such association." As the super soul, the Lord knows the heart of all living entities. Whenever he saw devotees like Srivasa, he would offer them his respects. The Lord accepted the devotees' blessings on his head, for devotional service to the Lord Krishna is attained only by blessings of the devotees. Someone also directly told Nimai, "Why are you wasting your time with mundane education?" Another person said, "Look, Nimai, what do you gain from studying? Just worship Krishna." Real impudence, right? Real impudence to tell such thing to Krishna himself. And there is no better impudence than this. Again, why do people study? Education is only for understanding devotional service of Lord Krishna. If that purpose is not served, then what is the use of your education today? What is his name? Anwal Avasthi was telling me that in Jamshedpur, almost 70% people are Bengali. In fact, the language in Jamshedpur is only Bengali. Okay. And he was telling him, this is a hopeless case. These Bengalis you cannot cultivate them into Krishna consciousness. And then he was making a comment about Jharkhand. He says, because Jharkhand doesn't have good universities, good education, so people are much better. So you see, the current education is not good. It's not good. It is very bad. Very bad. You see, little education all of you have, and how much suffering you people have. Oh, I am so educated. Here, this is Abhishek Jaiswal. What are you talking about me? I am the greatest from IIT Patna, and I am carrying the legacy of IIT Patna, and I am here at IIT Kanpur, and then I will reach directly moon. So, education doesn't help our devotion to Krishna. But if you have education, if you can use it in service to Krishna, then that is wonderful. That is wonderful. Okay? For the sake of education, if you gather education, it's no use. So when you are a PhD or you are a MTech and you go out and tell people about Krishna, they will not reject you because they know this fellow is educated. Okay? but simply for the sake of, I'm a PhD. But my dear friend, what is your understanding of the life? Or to publish papers, to get promotion. So that is like a jackal mentality. Devotion to Krishna, somebody should read this. Devendra Arya read yesterday, Hariam Birla has already read. Jayant Kumar Mahanta, please read.
Sir, can you share the screen? Devotion to Krishna or achieving devotional service to Krishna is the perfection of all knowledge and learning. If devotion to Krishna is not attained, then all endeavors for accumulating knowledge are useless. Knowledge that does not awaken. One's attachment for Krishna simply increases one's material illusion. That is why Srimad Bhakti Vinod Thakur has written in his Kalyan Kalpataru, Jada Vidya Yata Mayar Vaibhav, Tomar Bhajane Badha, Moha Janmiya Anitya Samsare, Jiva ke Kare Gadha. Material studies are the glare of Maya only, for they are an obstacle to spiritual progress. They create illusion in this material world and turn the living entity into an ass. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lila 8.245, it is stated, on one occasion, the Lord inquired, of all types of education, which is the most important? Ramananda Rai replied, no education is important, other than the transcendental devotional service of Krishna.
So dear devotees, very fascinating purport. It is in fact true. But while we say the material education is not good, it is an obstacle in the path of devotional service. But the fact is, we need professional like Arjuna. Arjuna had material qualification. Arjuna was greatest, he was the greatest archer, he was the greatest singer, he was the greatest dancer, he was the greatest artist, he could paint nicely. I think people, somebody was telling me, Arjuna, how many kalas he had? I think he had 64 kalas or something like that. Arjuna was expert in everything, but he knew how to use it in all Krishna's service. Arjuna knew how to use everything in Krishna's service. So that is, suppose you had the material ability without over-endeavoring. If you have certain material ability, then you can nurture that in the service to Krishna. So we have to be very, very careful. But if you are over-endeavoring in the path of mundane education for name, fame, pratishtha, then dear friends, that is not good thing. We should endeavor only to use that in Krishna's service. The Lord smiled and said, I am most fortunate, for you are all teaching me that devotional service to Krishna is the essence of all education. I sincerely feel that one who is blessed by all of you is most fortunate. I have already decided that after teaching a while longer, I will go serve a pure devotee. Lord said, after studying in this way for a while longer, I will approach a Bhagavata Vaishnava, and after understanding topics of spiritual world, I will follow him. In other words, I have a desire to first become expert in studies and then cultivate pure Vaishnava principles. You see, once Mahaprabhu gave up Sanskrit, grammar and all those things, I don't think that he used it even in service to, because he doesn't have to. But we may find them, these material education have some use in service to Krishna. But anyway, you see that we build temples that requires material education. We for preaching purpose, we are using varieties of things like today we are able to. I am sitting here and many of you, Abhishek Jaiswal is in 664, Rahul Negi in Dehradun, Abhay Chaitanya is Indore, Abhishek Panchal in Mumbai, Ajay Goodlight Dehradun, Anmol Avasthi in Jamshedpur, Bapi Sardar is in Bengal, Devendra is in Bangalore, Devendra Arya is in Delhi, Hariom Birla is in somewhere near Indore, Jayant Mahanta is in Ratan Planet, Jitendra Soni is somewhere in Madhya Pradesh, Jivne is somewhere in Maharashtra, Karthik Murthy, I don't know where is he, Khushbu somewhere in Kanpur, Malay Naskar somewhere in Bengal, Manish Yadav somewhere near Indore, Meher Kurkunda is in Rajmahindri, Manish Sabarwal is in Basant Kunj in Delhi, Neha is in somewhere near Greater Kailas or near that area, Pawan Goyal in Kharagpur, Piyush Saigal in our Bhaktivedanta Gurukul campus, Priya Gopi in Gurukul campus, Sachin Sahu in Bhubaneswar, Sanjay Sinhaji is in Dehradun, Santosh Kumar, Narayani Mataji, they are in Gurukul campus, Subramaniam is in Visakhapatnam, Sudhir Jalalimudi in Gurukul campus, Swati Singh in RA Tower 1 or 2, Tanesh Gupta somewhere in, I don't know where he is, Tarun Reddy in Dhanbad, Madhusudan Mukundas and Ravi Prakash in 664. So dear devotees, we are all so many places, but technology has kept us together, right? So we cannot reject anything that can be used in Krishna's service. We cannot reject. We cannot say, there are some Vaishnavas, they say, now let us go to a place where there will be no internet, there will be nothing, only what is it called, the mitti tel ki light, क्या रे, चुंगी, और लैंटर्न, चुंगी पता है तुम लोगों को? अरे चुंगी पता नहीं है, वही डिबरी or lamp. So people say, if you go to that, then you will become Krishna conscious. Wow, 5,000 years ago, situation was like that. People were doing like this, and they didn't become Krishna conscious. And you think that people will become Krishna conscious now because of chungi? No. The principle is you use everything in Krishna's service. You learn how to use everything in Krishna's service, and that is the art of Krishna consciousness. Okay. So anyway, I got absolutely derailed. Sorry for that. So let us continue. After saying this, the Lord smiled at his servants by his influence. However, no one could recognize him. In this way, Nimai attracted the heart of everyone. There was no one who escaped his power of attraction. Sometimes the Lord sat on the bank of Ganges. Sometimes he wandered on the streets of Navadip. Whenever the residents saw the Lord, they would welcome him with great respect. When the ladies saw Gaura, they said, "Here is Cupid himself. Let women receive such a treasure birth after birth." All the scholars saw him as equal to Brihaspati. Even elderly men offered obeisances at his lotus feet. The yogis saw the Lord as the personification of mystic perfection, and the miscreants saw him as the personification of death. So, sometime, I was, one question is given, what was in Bhagavad Gita one lesson, there is a question that we see things using colored glasses and hence explain what is the purpose of life or something, right? And I find that people really, they are not able to give a proper answer. See, that question is that in that chapter is a very important question, because same thing, different people will see differently. And again I am saying, you see a devotee, a devotee will become very happy, another devotee will become happy. But when a devotee is there, the non-devotees will become envious of. They will feel envious. Hey, this fellow is good for nothing, he is doing nothing. So, same devotee, he will be treated by different people differently. Right? And like Mahaprabhu here, the scholars are seeing him as Brihaspati, the atheists are seeing him as the personification of death. And different people are seeing him differently. And similarly, gold. I had told you that if you are in mode of goodness, then you see the gold, then you may deposit it with the rightful owner, or you will give it to the police, or wherever it is, right? If you are in a mode of passion, then you will grab it and run away. But if you are a yogi, you will see the gold the same as a pebble. Okay? And and of course, when you are a devotee and somebody gives you gold, then you will use it in Krishna's service. So different objects, a same object, different perception. So this very idea that same object will give us same experience is ridiculous. It's not true. It's not true. If the Lord spoke with someone just once, that person was bound by ropes of love. Although everyone heard about how the Lord was proud of his scholarship, they still loved him dearly. Even the Yavanas felt love for the Lord, for the Lord's characteristic is to show mercy to all living entities. Lord of Vaikuntha taught his students in the courtyard of the fortunate Mukunda Sanjaya. So this is another open question would be there. In whose courtyard Nimai had his toll. Mukunda Sanjaya is the courtyard, became the school. Okay. And I have told, in Jharkhand, we will have toll principle. One teacher will have 10 batches of students, different batch. We are going to do this, implement. For a long time I have this, I know that I was so inspired before becoming a devotee. Somebody should figure out a Japanese book, and this Japanese book is written by a lady where she discusses about her school, and this school was conducted in an abandoned train, and this train was destroyed during the World War II and World War I, I think, and he was teaching in that, and very wonderful description. I would like, maybe Narayani Mataji should order this book, and I would like, Narayani Mataji should give a talk on this book. This is a very fascinating book. I would like, we are not revolutionizing our teaching methodology. We are not transferring the values to our children. It's very, very unfortunate. So, arguments, counter-arguments establishing and refuting the meaning of a sutra, these were all explained in various ways by the son of Mother Sachi. Although they could not understand Lord's explanation, the fortunate Mukunda Sanjaya and his family all floated in waves of ecstasy. After completing his teaching at school, the Lords of Vaikuntha returned home still absorbed in his scholastic pastimes. One day, on the pretext of sickness due to excessive gas, the Lord manifested transformation of ecstatic love. So, I think so. I think so. You got that book? Dekha. You find out this Tetsuko Kuroyo Nagi is actually a very famous personality in Japan also. This engaged series of childhood recollection tells about an ideal school in Tokyo during World War II. This is the book. Let's can you put it that in the chat window? Chat window. Is Narayani Mataji is there?
Yes, Guruji.
You look at in the chat window the book. Order it from Amazon and you yourself give the presentation on that.
Oh, okay.
Okay? It's a very fascinating book. I would suggest that, just we have to add Krishna, that's all. We just have to add Krishna to this. I read this book in 1992. Just I became Krishna conscious. And that is why I had a fascination for school. But I don't know why Maharaj never allowed me to be in Vrindavan. He forced me in 2014. But that time one person didn't allow me to go. But after that, actually, see, we have to do something very, very creative and revolutionize. I want to set up a nice school, transform people's life. I'll have my own toll, one person and as many batches there. This is wow. Fascinating. It would be fascinating. This traditional thing and Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness. Everybody memorizing Bhagavad Gita verses. Okay. Actually, this one toll principle is still there in Muthu village. Muthu village. Many mistakes I have done. My student Kumar Narasimha Sastri, he arranged my stay in Muthu village. He arranged a teacher for me. Bhakti Sarup Damodar Maharaj told me that you go and join there. But I got more attracted to Rasaraj Prabhu, so I joined in BI. So I think many opportunities has come to me, but I have not. Anyway, Krishna, what he wanted, we don't know. But anyway, by brooding over the past is of no use. We have to see now in the future. What you do, you order also this book here. After completing his teaching in the school, Lord of Vaikuntha returned home, still absorbed in his scholastic pastimes. One day, on the pretext of sickness due to excessive gas, the Lord manifested transformation of ecstatic love. So dear devotees, who will read? Okay, next person, Jivnes, you try.
Krishna sir, Dandavat
Padho.
The gross body of the living entity is made up of three elements: mucus, bile, and air. As soon as nature of any one, two, or three of the three elements alters, the gross body is transformed or diseased. When the gross body is diseased, the mental condition is certainly affected. Although the mind is part of subtle body, because it is presently joined with the gross body, it takes on the same nature. The word singha or the word shigra or quickly indicates a greater than normal movement of the object. Whenever the movement of the object is less than normal, the word madhya is used. When the air in the body changes its normal course of movement, the airborne diseases are formed. The service attitude of Krishna's servant that Sri Gaur Sundara displayed with his pure transformations of ecstatic love and desire to serve the Supreme Lord was not understandable by ordinary people. Therefore, Lord pretended to suffer from disorder of his bodily airs. Actually, the transformation of the loving devotion that manifests in a heart of illuminated with a pure goodness is not one of airborne diseases, as imagined by foolish materialist atheists. Those who are totally averse to the service of Lord consider the most wonderful transformation of love for Krishna, which are desired by the spotless Paramhamsa, as one of the 49 varieties of airborne diseases they are subjected to. It is to be understood that this is punishment for their aversion to the Lord.
Thank you very much, Jivanes, for reading it. I will. Okay. So we stop here. Just what we got in the last purport is that Mahaprabhu is feeling ecstasy, but he cannot tell that he has devotional ecstasy. So he is faking it by saying that he has some airborne disease. So dear devotees, even pure devotees, they don't manifest their ecstasy in public. Never. Anybody who's displaying their so-called ecstasy in public means they must be dhongi. So we have to be very careful. And anyhow, today we saw that how Mahaprabhu was wandering in the streets of Navadip like a lion. He defeated all the teachers. Then he would try to argue with the devotees, and some of them like Mukunda and Gadadhara Pandit, they would be defeated and other devotees will flee. Devotees, they got together and they said, why, Mahaprabhu, Nimai is not becoming a Vaishnava. If he becomes a Vaishnava, how nice it will be. Mukunda Datta thought that if he becomes a Vaishnava, I will never give up his association. And devotees started praying for Krishna. Devotees started praying for Krishna. And Mahaprabhu was thinking, yes, don't worry, I am coming. Give me some time. When I will get trained by a pure devotee, and then I will manifest my devotional attitude. So from Mahaprabhu is setting the example that unless one is trained by a pure devotee, one should not exhibit Krishna, or one should not think that he is a devotee. And very important point here is that devotees prayed to Krishna for Nimai, and Nimai was internally very happy, and he was thinking that he will, he was feeling very happy because Krishna and devotees, they are non-different from each other. And Krishna wants to reciprocate. And we will see what happens next. Any question, any discussion you want to have? But I am very happy that we got the book. I am talking about this book. I had told Radhakant, I had made a list of books that should be purchased for our school. And I had made a list actually. Did I send? Radhakant is not there today. Anyway, so anyhow, this book is very, very nice book. Okay, any question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I wanted to ask, how can we dovetail our office work with Krishna consciousness? Because when we are busy in our office work, we have a period of 7-8 hours when we tend to forget Krishna. So how do we dovetail? Prabhupada mentioned that we should dovetail every activity with Krishna. But somehow I have not been successful in doing it during office time. So wanted your advice on that.
You see that all office work cannot be dovetailed in Krishna's service in the sense that directly. But your office work is important for you because that gives you a status in the society, also it gives you financial stability to you so that you can practice Krishna consciousness. And if you are really Krishna conscious, your office work, which is for let's say 8 hours of work, you can complete it in 3 hours or 4 hours. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was a district magistrate, and that which other judges would take more than days or a week even, he would finish all those things in 2 hours. He will dispose of many cases just left and right because his intelligence was crystal clear, so he would do that. So we should see that way. That means in our professional work, we must not relax our professional quality. Never we should degrade our professional quality in the name of Krishna. That is not good. Even Arjuna learnt archery in the middle of the night. So if you have accepted, you have a profession, then you have to show professional skill. But the point is that if your other time you are engaging very nicely in Krishna's service, then your intelligence will be very clear and you can do your job very fast. So suppose 8 hours of job you have and you are finishing in 6 hours, so you can save 2 hours to study Bhagavad Gita in the office because you have finished your work. So that way you can do, but you cannot think that directly you can use it. Yes, by doing a job, you are having a status in the society, you are having earning from that job, and that you are able to use to maintain your family and use some of that also in Krishna's service. So like that, you have to see. I hope I gave you the answer.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. That's the answer.
Yeah. So, Tanis Gupta Haribol. What is that? No. 837 he has said Haribol. And Yashamati Nandan Nayak, borax, also called sodium tetraborate, is a powdery white mineral that has been used as a cleaning product for several decades. Jivanes, sometimes devotee accept materially superior position hoping that it will help for preaching. But just to maintain that position, one needs to put a lot of energy. No, that is why I tell, I am telling so many people. Recently, I was advising one devotee. I said, you are not good for PhD because in your master's thesis I saw you could not do a good job and you are not good for PhD. So those who cannot do a PhD properly, why should they waste their time to do a PhD? So, yes, you are right. just to get a good position, if you over endeavor, then you cannot practice Krishna consciousness. It is better to become a simple teacher and all a humble earning and then practice Krishna consciousness. That is better than thinking, oh, I'm a PhD, I'm this, I'm that, and all your time is wasted. I have seen here in IIT Kanpur, there are many of my colleagues, now though I don't know who is doing what, but when I joined, I have seen people just to teach a course. They used to spend night out. They will work so hard. And I have seen here the students that are least interested. And that fellow is just struggling. And students are hardly interested. It doesn't mean that we don't have to teach properly, but then they really work so hard just to teach a subject. And when you do that, how can you practice Krishna consciousness? Okay? So you should not accept something that takes all your time and extra time and you are left with nothing. How do we envisage education in the field of mathematics, logic, set theory, biomathematics, theoretical astronomy, other such techniques field planned for the university project in the service of Lord? It seems from an external perspective that it may hurt to connect easily with Krishna, given the complexity unknown factors involved in such scientific exploration. Something that is not in your territory, probably you cannot understand this. I had explained, you are not there in the Gurukula, I had explained how infinity represents Krishna, how zero represents Krishna. Okay? And but then one should be very clever enough to understand this. Piyush Sehgal, you mentioned today that art of KC is to use everything in service of Lord, renouncing internet, electricity is not needed. In previous lecture, you had mentioned about the issues with mobile. Please help us connect these two seemingly varying points. If you are diverted by mobiles, then you cannot use mobile. You have to be detached from mobile. Only when you see whether a mobile or a car or a house, only as a via medium to serve Krishna, then only you use. But if you have any attraction for them, you overindulge yourself in these activities, then my dear friend, first practice renounce. That's what I said. If you don't have detachment, then you will become a sahjiya. Sir, can you name the book again? We have put in you see that Tato-chan, the little girl at the window. Tato-chan, the little girl at the window. That is the book by Tetsuko Kuryonagi. Okay, that is the book. Ajay Gudla, Hare Krishna Sir, in Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter, it is told that devotional service is more perfect than impersonal meditation. Can you say Savari Muni was doing impersonal meditation? What is the meaning of impersonal meditation? Please explain. Impersonal meditation means Brahman. That is, you insulate yourself and you try to be situated within yourself. That means you separate completely yourself from everything jad, matter, and then the experience of yourself as you are. That is impersonalism, because in that experience you will have the experience of Brahmananda, a feeling of happiness. But you have no form, nothing, you have no relationship. So, and hence that is impersonalism. So you go beyond the space and time by aruhya kusrena parampadam tato. But then you have no knowledge of Krishna, you have no knowledge of personality, you don't know what is reciprocation, and that is impersonalism. I think that's a very good question you asked, and I'm really wondering that none of you have really gone through my Bhagavad Gita properly. You are not able to understand this question. This has been again and again has been told in Bhagavad Gita. That is why I am telling this Bhagavad Gita course that I have designed. So many concepts are there, hidden. All these concepts are there. Okay. Jayant Kumar Mahant, our Acharya Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Jadar Vidya Mayar Vaibhav, Jive ko banaye gadha. So while studying, what should be our attitude? Yes, it is correct. It is correct. I don't think going for higher education really helps unless one knows properly, under proper guidance, what is the use of that in Krishna's service. So yes, Gadha, one will become Gadha, correct. It's perfectly correct. I wasted my time going to Germany, I wasted my time going to UK, I wasted my time being in IIT Kanpur, I wasted. And now I will give the last one is to Neha. Neha wanted to share something. Neha, sorry. Very sorry, please forgive me, please share.
No, Prabhuji, please.
Please, bolo.
Prabhuji, I wanted to say that somebody said that, asked this question that should we take some position. Sometimes we just take positions in the, on the pretext of preaching in the future, or, like I wanted to share that I had a chance to really to serve you, but I thought that I used my own mind, and I thought that I'll do something so that I can work independently in the future. And I was thinking that after doing this course, I'll become independent. Now I realize that I have gotten into a what kind of mess I have gotten myself into. So there is no end to this. Once you get into this, you can never get out. So now initially I thought that I'll finish this course quickly, and then now when I completed my 4 papers, now few papers are still pending. I got my provisional license. Now to get my full license, I have to work under a lawyer, and then so much of work I'm doing that I'm not even getting time to eat properly these days. So I was just thinking that I had a comfortable job, a government job, and I quit that in the greed that eventually I'll be able to work independently, and but that looks like a mirage now. You can never attain that. So I want to tell everybody from my experience that please, when our Guru says something, we should just blindly, do that without using our brain. Otherwise, we'll be in such a mess that we'll never be able to come out. And there is no end to this greed. Once you get into this, you'll never be able to come out. So I really regret the day I started this course. Now I'm in such a mess that at least for 2 years I'm in this mess, and I don't know when this will end. Now, if given a choice, I just want to leave everything, quit, and serve you in whatever way I can now. But now I'm so stuck in this, I can't even leave because my employer has paid such a huge amount for my this overseas education that he has sponsored. So this is what my experience is, really, that there is no, sometimes we just use our brain to say that, oh, I'm doing this for Krishna so that I will get this position, so so that I can serve Krishna in the future, or I'll be able to serve my Guru in a better way. But I think it's only our own desires that we are trying to fulfill in that thing. So that's what I wanted to share with everybody.
Yes, but most likely you are attracted to such position, and hence you are doing, and you are using the pretext of Krishna. And that is actually, unless someone tells you, a Krishna conscious preceptor or teacher tells you that you do this, then that becomes a service. If there is no such obligation, I don't think that most of the time we may not be using any of these in Krishna's service. They will not be good for nothing. They will be good for nothing. Okay? So anyway, there are so many things we can do and we are not doing, and time has come, all of you, to wind up everything and come to Krishna consciousness. We have so many things. We have to open restaurant, we have to open schools, we have to do the farm project. So many things, enough work is there, aplenty. And we should not waste our time doing this degree, that degree. These degrees are good for nothing actually. At best, you will go and beg to some multinational, Vikyam Dehi. That's all. And so thank you very much, all the devotees. So this is for today. Tomorrow we'll continue from 11th chapter again. Hare Krishna. Sri Sri Lakshmi Nrsimha Bhagwan ki jai. Sri Radha Ramanju ki jai. Srila Giriraj Krishna ki jai. Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari.